This is Annie from Anniegurumi again, and today I wanted to share with you what I've been working on with Hobium's Etrophil Republic yarn. I had that in the last video as a yarn review, and I absolutely love this 100% recycled cotton, and it's fingering weight, so it's quite thin, and I thought that the perfect project for me would be the C2C blanket. So there is no pattern for this. I'm just increasing it to the width and height that I want. And I thought it would be nice to share with you and show you the beautiful color changes that we have here. I started from inside the ball, and as you can see, it had an easy pull, which is really nice to pull from the center of the yarn. And so it started with this light, almost pale green, almost white, and it's moving into a medium green, into a slightly darker green, and now it has this lovely tweed type looking effect. And it's a gradient yarn, so it's going to change colors gradually. I thought it would be a really great idea to show you how to get started on your own corner to corner blanket or any project that you like. You could make a scarf, you could pretty much anything that is flat. So let's get started. If you're using the Republic yarn, I strongly recommend a 3mm hook, which is what is on the label, or you could even do 2.75mm, which is my preferred hook for the tension that I have for the blanket that I'm working on. So what we're going to do is go ahead and we're going to make a chain of 6. So go ahead and do that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now from here, what we will do is we're going to double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. So as you can see here, this is the first one, second one, third one, and 4th one. So go ahead and yarn over, and I like to put it into this loop right here, but you can put it through both, it's up to you. Yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over through 2 loops, and then close that up by yarning over and going through 2. Now we're going to do a double crochet in the next 2 chains, so go ahead and do that. And the last one here. Perfect. So if we were working this way, we're turning it to the left here, counterclockwise. And we're going to go ahead and chain 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So from here, we're going to do the same thing by double crocheting into the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to do it into the next 2 as well. And what that does, if you can see, it gives you 4 double crochets here. This one is from the turning chain, or like the chain that you did at the beginning, the chain 6, and then it becomes the first double crochet, and then you're going into the next 1, 2, 3. So it's a total of 4 double crochets. Now here's where it gets interesting. What we're trying to do is trying to connect this tile and this tile. So as you can see here, you're going to work into this chain space right here, right there. So you had 1, 2, 3, and 4 double crochets. So every tile has 4 double crochets. We're going to slip stitch into that chain space right there and insert, yarn over, and just pull through. That is your connection right there. And then we're going to go ahead and chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to make double crochets into this chain space. So let's do 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and 3 double crochet. Now you have a total of 4 double crochets, including that chain that you did in the beginning. So if you just have to remember that each tile that you have has 4 double crochets, which is this, 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 and this. And now we have 3 tiles, 1, 2, and 3. So corner to corner is basically we're working from one corner of the work, working diagonal, growing to the width or height that you desire, and then decreasing. So when we're starting a new row, we have to turn the work. So I turn to the left again, just like that, because we always work going to the left. Go ahead and chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead and double crochet, and we're going to do 2 more double crochets. So that way we have 4 total double crochets. And like before, we want to attach this to the tile that's next to it. So you have to find that chain space right here, which is right there, the top corner right here. We're going to slip stitch in there. We're going to make another tile here, so we need to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and put 3 double crochets into that chain space right there. So I'm going to do that now. And we always check that the tile has 4 double crochets. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we've come to the end over here because we're just starting our work. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to slip stitch into this chain space here. We're going to chain 3 and place 3 double crochets inside. This chain 3 counts as a double crochet. So let's put in 3 more double crochets for a total of 4 double crochets. Now we've come to the end of the row. We're going to turn our work to the left and go ahead and chain 6 to keep this growing, to make it grow wider and taller. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Basically, we are repeating the same steps as before until it reaches our desired height and width. So we're going to do this, and when you do this, it grows evenly. The squares will become a square. So we want to keep going for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, connecting it to the next chain space here. Can you see that chain space right there? And then slip stitch, 1, 2, 3 chains, and then 3 double crochets, for a total of 4 double crochets for that tile. We look for the next tile and the space right there, and slip stitch, chain 3, place 3 double crochets inside the chain space, and we are reaching the last tile of the row, which is the same thing as before. Slip stitching, chain 3, and 3 double crochets. So this becomes like second nature once you get started. It is a nice thing to do when you're watching TV, or you just need to do, maybe you're listening to an audiobook and you're not really having a full focus, but this project grows really fast. And then from here, I'm going to keep going. I'll time lapse it so that you can see, and I'll try to get it to a medium size so that way we can start decreasing, and then you can try it out for yourself. trying to stop, or when you're finished with a row and you wanted to keep it straight, that is something we call a decrease. So if you wanted to do a decrease, what you would do is you would flip your work and you will go into the first chain space right there. You will slip stitch. We're going into the next chain space right there, also slip stitching there. And finally, you have one last chain space. You're going to slip stitch right there. And what that does is we're keeping it a straight edge, as you can see right here. And now we continue as we normally do because we need to fill in these tiles here. So what we will do is chain 3. And into that chain space from where you just chained, we're going to put in 3 double crochets just like before. Nothing fancy, exactly the same. And that still gives us 4 double crochets to make that tile. Now we're going to connect it to the next side by slip stitching into that same chain space from before, just like other rows that we've been doing, and double crocheting into that chain space. And we need a total of 4 double crochets, so you need to do 3 double crochets in that chain space. Go ahead and slip stitch into the next tile to connect it. 1, 2, 3. Double crochet into the chain space. It's just like what we did before. Slip stitch to the next tile, chain space, chain 3, and then 3 double crochets into that chain space. Nothing is different here. You can keep going all the way to the end. So let's see here, we need one more. Okay, second to last in the round, or sorry, in the row, in this row, we're not in the round. And we're going to place the double crochets in here, and now we are at the last one, which we just do the same thing we did before. We're going to slip stitch, chain 3, place 3 double crochets in here so that our tile has 4 double crochets. Now here's what we do. We turn the work again. So right here, into that first chain space right there, we're going to do a slip stitch. Find the next chain space between the 2 double crochets, insert your hook, and do a slip stitch. We have one more chain space left here, and you got it, slip stitch. Now we need to make a new tile here by chaining 3. In this chain space right here, we will put 3 double crochets to complete this tile. So it's just a series of doing this until it's the desired height, the desired length. So you have to decide how wide or how tall you want it to be by playing around with the increases and increasing on one side, decreasing on another side. And then when you're ready, you can just decrease the whole thing to make everything even. I'm going to just show you a square for now, and I'll speed it up so that you can see how it looks when you keep following the decrease after each row. So now we stop because we are at the straight edge, the decrease that we did previously, and this is the last tile we will be working in. So what we need to do is to insert our hook we're going to yarn over and then pull it through both loops, which is a slip stitch. Now we don't want to increase in here, so what we will do is turn our work, and then we're going to find that first chain space between the double crochets in the tile that we're working on. So you're going to slip stitch there to bring the yarn over without adding any height. Same with the next chain space, slip stitch, and into that last chain space, because this is where we're making our new tile so that we can create an even edge over here. So now we need to chain 3 and then place 3 double crochets in there again. So we're going to keep repeating this pattern, and then as it'll get smaller and smaller as we work back towards the other corner of the diagonal. So you can see that it's shrinking from these corners, and then we're going to come over to this point. So let's go ahead and keep going as usual by slip stitching, chaining 3, and then 3 double crochets into the chain space by making a tile, and repeat until you get to the straight edge over here. Okay, so now we're here at this straight edge that we have here. Sometimes you might need to pull it a little bit to keep it nice and straight. And then we are going to connect this tile to this one by slip stitching. And now we have another straight edge over here. So we turn our work, and we're going to decrease by doing the same thing, slip stitching into the chain spaces. There's our first one, our second one, and our third one. And continue to do the same until you are at the very corner, and then you're done. So let me go ahead and speed this up so that way you can just see how it decreases itself. So now we are at our very last tile here, and what we need to do is, as you can see, we need to make one more to complete this corner, and it's our very last tile. So what I did is the same thing I did before, is chain 3, and then we'll put 3 double crochets into this chain space to make our final tile. So right there is our final tile. We're going to go into, just like we did before, into this last chain space, and we're going to slip stitch and check it out. We have completed it. I just suggest turning it around. So you turn it and go ahead and slip stitch into the chain space again, leading us to the very far corner here. And then from here, you can just fasten off your work. You have a perfect square, just like that. A very perfect and symmetrical square, a very easy project to do. If you want to do a rectangle, all you have to do is make sure that you're decreasing on one side and increasing on the other. And that way it will turn into a rectangle. I wanted to show you one more time the blanket that I'm working on with the Republic yarn that I'm using from Hobium Yarns, and it is just beautiful. This one has 1,000 meters of fingering weight yarn, so this is going to be a really generous amount of yarn for a blanket. So I feel I might only need 3 cakes of this yarn to make a small blanket for my son. I'm just loving the color changes in this so much, and they have many different colored ones. And another thing I was thinking about for this project with this yarn, it made me think that this would actually make a lovely cocoon. Oh, isn't it called a cocoon? Where you can make a gigantic mermaid tail, and a little kid could go inside and then use it as sort of like a snuggle cocoon. This yarn would be a great project because this is not very thick at all. It's very thin, it's made of cotton, and I feel like when it's a snuggle blanket, kind of like that, the thinner the better, the more breathable the better, unless of course you live in a warmer, sorry, not a warmer climate, but a cooler climate where it snows, and wool would be better for that. But for me, since I live in a subtropic climate and it's always hot here, this yarn is actually perfect for what I need. And this would also make a great baby blanket, as most of you that are parents would know that thin blankets that are breathable are actually better for babies because they need something lightweight that can keep them warm without overheating them, and cotton is a great choice. I know that for me, I used a lot of thin cotton blankets, and I wish I had had this knowledge of corner to corner, because this is actually really beautiful. You can do even color work with this. So if there's anything that you can add tip-wise for corner to corner crochet, please leave them in the comment box below. Give this video a like and let Hobium know if you enjoyed this video. And I'll show you my finished blanket whenever I finish it. I have a feeling that I'm going to be done quite soon because this is already about a little less than halfway in the cake. So it's pretty big already. And if there's anything else that you would like me to review or to show you how to do, please leave it in the comment box below. And you can find me at Anniegurumi.